Mahatma Gandhi, the 63-year-old leader of 300 million people, stands ready today to give his life for the cause of political independence in India.
Who was Gandhi? What did he do to earn the respect of leaders like Albert Einstein, Martin Luther King Jr., and even Barack Obama, our 44th president? Gandhi led his country to self-ruling and independence from Britain, but he never had the intention to hurt anyone. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, as Gandhi once said. But this doesn't make much sense. How could it possibly be that he drove Britain out of India for good without threats of violence or war? Albert Einstein once said, "Generations to come will scarce believe that such a one as this walked the earth in flesh and blood." His methods seemed nonsensical, and Lord Irwin, the former Viceroy of India, looked at Gandhi's actions and did not think much of them. But even though it seemed that Gandhi was crazy, he had the ultimate weapon on his side, the weapon that stood up to anything else in its way: nonviolence. In the early 20th century, Gandhi used nonviolence and satyagraha to lead India's freedom struggle. He converted a bunch of angry mobs into a mass movement for Indian independence. He brought different cultures together that spoke different languages, had different religious beliefs, and adhered to different customs. While others around him were dependent on violence to strike fear into the hearts of others, Gandhi used nonviolence. By using nonviolence, Gandhi took a stand and went against what everyone thought as a viable tactic for expressing political opinions. It all started in Durban, South Africa in 1953, when Gandhi sat in his seat on a train ride. It was first-class seating, and Gandhi had his ticket. But he was thrown off the train and refused a place in a hotel because of his race. This started Gandhi's initial fight to stand up for the rights of Indians in South Africa. When he decided to quit his job as an attorney and fight for the rights of Indian migrants in South Africa for the next 20 years, he sacrificed many things, including his career and his family, to pursue Indian rights. The people that suffered became his life, and everyone around him looked up to him as a leader to restore Indians' rights in South Africa. But how did he fight for the Indians' rights in South Africa? His answer was something never thought of before, yet it was very simple. He called it the Satyagraha. The word Satyagraha is made up of two words in Sanskrit: Satya, meaning truth, and Agraha, meaning force. The Satyagraha was a non-violent protest against the government. The Satyagrahi, who were the participators in the Satyagraha, never used violence. Instead, they would make a statement by purposefully being arrested, then they would toil in jail. They did this because it uprooted the true evil behind whatever they were protesting and brought it to awareness. They got arrested so much, the prisons became known as King Edward's Hotel. Gandhi insisted on always being the first one arrested. When Gandhi returned to India, he witnessed the struggle for Swaraj, or self-rule. He decided to apply the same strategy used in South Africa, the Satyagraha, and used dialogue and actions to make his statements. For him, no struggle was inferior to another. No matter if it was peasants or factory workers, he did not discriminate. He fought for everyone, no matter their social status. Perhaps that is why many people see Gandhi as a unanimous leader, respectful to all people. Martin Luther King Jr. said in tribute to Gandhi, "Gandhi was inevitable if humanity is to progress. Gandhi is inescapable. He lived, thought, and acted inspired by the vision of humanity evolving toward a world of peace and harmony. We may ignore Gandhi at our own risk." Gandhi's first major intervention at the national level in India took place from 1920 to 1922. The non-cooperation was a movement that focused on civil disobedience, which means not obeying the law peacefully. The non-cooperation movement was aimed at attaining Swaraj from the British government. What made Gandhi's message stand out was his tactics. No false promises, no deceptive political strategies, no use of brutality, no discrimination between upper and lower castes, and no division between the Hindus and Muslims. Gandhi actually managed to bring the two religions closer together. The non-cooperation movement emphasized finding alternative and more respectful ways of dealing with problems that others would have solved with threats to kill. Gandhi took a stand against the regular way of dealing with issues. He revoked ideas of violence and mobs, and instead created a new way of protesting. But when a group of protesters burned a police station and killed some of the policemen, Gandhi made the decision to call off the non-cooperation movement, because he felt that the people were not yet ready to fight for Swaraj respectfully and non-violently. This decision became very unpopular at the time, as other leaders were claiming the bloodshed of the police to be only collateral damage. It was inevitable. For Gandhi, this was not only about the people's rights. It was about learning to fight for what you believe in a responsible and just way. Even the killing of policemen who beat Indians was unacceptable in Gandhi's eyes. This is the reason why the non-cooperation movement was unique, that the creator, Gandhi, called off his own solution for attaining Swaraj just because it conflicted with his ideals of nonviolence. This proves how seriously Gandhi followed through on his beliefs of peace and nonviolence. Gandhi was not going to let his motives be interfered with by the opinions of other leaders, because he knew that his way would bring nations together instead of creating enemies that drove nations apart. Arguably the best and most influential appliance of his strategies was the Salt March. The Salt March targeted a law created by the British that prevented Indians from selling or collecting salt, which forced people to buy salt from the British government, which exerted a heavy tax upon the salt. Salt was a staple in the Indian diet, and people had been making salt by collecting it from the sea for centuries, which made it a part of Indian life. Gandhi saw the corruption in this law and took a stand against it. On March 12, 1930, Gandhi began his journey from his religious retreat, referred to as his ashram, at Sabarmati, with many followers to walk around 240 miles to Dandi, a coastal town on the Arabian Sea. Along the way, Gandhi spoke to large crowds, and many more people joined him. Once he arrived at Dandi, Gandhi proceeded to collect salt from the Arabian Sea, breaking the British law. At the same time, Indian nationalists led many people to make salt in Bombay and Karachi. The civil disobedience of making salt soon spread all over India, and in the end, British authorities arrested more than 60,000 people, including Gandhi, on May 5th. In January 1931, Gandhi was released from prison. After being released, Gandhi met with the Viceroy of India, Lord Irwin, and called off the Satyagraha in exchange for an equal role at a conference on India's future. In the end, the meeting was a disappointment, but the British leaders realized that Gandhi and his followers were a powerful force they could no longer overlook. Gandhi led his followers and the rest of India to self-rule, and in the process made powerful leaders rethink the way they governed. His effect on the way to protest influenced many leaders, such as Martin Luther King Jr., Barack Obama, Nelson Mandela, Ho Chi Minh, and many others, even after he was assassinated on January 30th, 1948. His effects were so widespread because of his radical way of thinking, which stood up to anything in his path. Gandhi saw the way people used to protest, with ferocity and brutality. He revoked those ideas. He made a difference. Mohandas Gandhi took a stand without raising a fist.